Being a Division I athlete has helped my business grow in so many different ways. One, from the athlete mindset that I have with being goal-oriented and just having good time management skills, but also just the support that I'm getting as a student athlete as well. My teammates and my coaching staff is definitely so amazing. You know, they always wear the Project U sweatshirts and are always reposting my stuff out there. My coaches, all their friends have talked about it. My coach, one of my assistant coaches, Rachel Morris, she actually wore one of my unreleased ones on the sideline recently, which is so cool because like these games, you know, they're streamed on TV and like you never know who's gonna see stuff and like it and order it or even wonder where it's from. So that, and along with that, I mean, there are also so many girls in other Big Ten schools or other college teams in general who are wearing it, and like I'll get orders all the time and I like look at the name, I'm like, that's someone I'm pretty sure I've played against before. And it's just such a cool like feeling knowing that all these people in the volleyball world want to represent the brand, not only because it looks cool, but also just because of what the messaging is. One of my favorite things actually with people wearing it is, so we do these summer camps in the summer, and it's one of my favorite things. I love coaching and working with younger kids, and I would always wear my sweatshirts because I wear them, you know what I mean? It's my brand, I like repping it, and I think they're cute. And all the time, these young campers would ask me where it's from. I'd tell them like, oh, look, it's my brand. Or even like my, another one of my assistant coaches, Matt Kearns, he would wear the sweatshirts and people would ask him where it's from, all these younger campers, and he would tell them, it's her brand, and point to me. And the little girls think it was so cool, and I thought it was cool because they thought it was cool. And the next thing you know, like they would always order stuff. And I mean, we're only about to be 2 games into the Big Ten season, and even throughout a lot of our preseason games, girls would come to our game wearing my sweatshirt. And it's just so cool seeing these, not only like young volleyball fans, but like these young volleyball fans wearing my sweatshirt and what it represents is just such a cool feeling. Recently, there was kind of another one of those moments. We recently just played Northwestern, and I did a little at the net video with Big Ten, and the announcers, they were talking about Project U, and I went to my phone after the game, and this game was live streamed on Big Ten Network. So I went to my phone after the game, and I got so many orders and different followers and new followers on my Project U Instagram account, and just this feeling of the support that the volleyball community has had with somebody that is in the volleyball community. Having a brand has just been so amazing, and I'm just honestly so grateful for it. My personal brand and my business side are very connected. I think that having a personal brand and really establishing what your personal brand is as an athlete is huge. Something that when I first got to college, I really wanted to focus on, especially knowing that I really wanted to take advantage of the NIL space. It's something that I honestly tell athletes all the time when talking to me about just honestly like advice with NIL and how to get into it. I think that personal brand is the first thing that I always say, whether it's just figuring out the things that you like or the things that you're interested in. I think establishing your own personal brand is huge. For me, I found out pretty early on that I knew it was gonna be fashion, clothes. I love like day in the life kind of stuff, just sharing my life, but a lot of stuff revolving around fashion and design and clothes, because that's something that I've always loved growing up. So with having a clothing brand, it kind of honestly just is seamless transitioning between those two, because you know, my personal brand involves clothing and fashion design, and I have this designed clothing brand that I created. So being able to use this platform that I've built through being a college athlete, whether it's just with NIL or just being an athlete in general and being in the spotlight through volleyball, it's really just been such a great opportunity to have that platform to use to really just help market and use that to, you know, bring my brand audience, you know, my personal brand audience over to the business side of myself. A mistake I made pretty early on when starting my business actually has to deal with manufacturing. It was definitely something that I was not familiar with before starting a business. I had no idea anything about manufacturing. A lot of the past projects I've worked on were stuff that I've handmade myself. So I've never really had to deal with, you know, like being in communication with a third-party manufacturer. So when I was first starting off trying to figure out places to get my sample products from, I was first of all really excited because it was my first time ever getting sample pieces and seeing my logo on a sweatshirt, which is such a cool and surreal experience, honestly. So I got really excited and I reached out to a bunch of different manufacturers and really just kind of went all out and just was honestly more so like putting energy into figuring out what materials and what stuff I liked best, where I didn't really think about how expensive certain manufacturers were, especially when you're getting one-off pieces. So a lot of different manufacturers, it's simple where it's like bulk is going to be way cheaper getting a bunch of sweatshirts, versus getting a one-off version of a sweatshirt. And that's what I was doing, because I'm like, in my head, I don't need bulk because I'm just getting like single one-off sample pieces. So I reached out to tons of different manufacturers, got single one-off pieces, which in the long run, I'm grateful I did, because I got to figure out just the differences between them, what I liked, what I didn't like from different pieces. But looking back on it, the amount of money that I did go into that, just because I didn't really process that and do my research into the manufacturers I was using. Definitely a mistake that I ran across, but I mean, it's one of those things where looking back, like with going through that, I learned so much. So I think that every mistake's really just a learning point, and that's definitely what that was for me in this business. Some advice I would give to another student athlete who's interested in starting their own business is just to start. Just do it. There's never going to be a right time, and you're never going to feel ready. Even though you think that you have a lot on your plate right now being a student athlete, like you got to think about all of the resources and support you have behind you being in a spot where you are in the spotlight and a student athlete. Honestly, just like sit down, get ideas out, talk to people, start creating. The second you start, that's the second that everything else is gonna flow, and you'll never know unless you do it. There are also just so many resources out there, whether it's online or with books or just connecting with people in similar areas, whether it's just people that are also in the creative space or like say, even just business in general. I feel like I talked to a lot of people that were just in business and familiar with money, because that's something that, you also have to think about is the finance and the taxes and the shipping. Those are all things that, again, like you don't think about when starting a company. And like even website stuff, I talked to a lot of people that were into IT and all of the website-based stuff because I just didn't know anything about it. So I think not being afraid to ask questions and just putting pencil to paper and starting and designing and actually doing it is two pretty big advices that I would give. After college, I'm definitely planning on growing this business. I have so many cool ideas planned. There are honestly so many cool ideas that I want to do right now, but I'm the kind of person where when I start something or when I want to do a project with something that I'm really passionate about, I don't want to not be able to put my full effort and time into it. And that's why there's so many big things that I have planned for Project U that right now I don't want to do, just because it's worth so much more of my time and energy than I have right now. But I do have some really exciting things planned within the next couple of years while I'm still here. And again, in the future, there are even more exciting things that I have planned. So this is really just the beginning for Project U.